I think everybody has the one video game, the one that sticks with them long after the credits roll and inspires them to take up a new hobby or live their lives a little bit differently. Maybe it's the story or music that hooks them, or a hero or villain they see themselves in. Although sometimes, it can be something much bigger. These are the opening words to the game VIDEOVERSE, a game created by Lucy Blundell, also known online as Kinmoku. The reason as to why I am starting this video with those words is because I want you to actually reflect on them before we begin. If you are watching this video, then I'm going to assume that you have played enough video games to have one that's special to you, a game that connected to you in a way that no other game did. For me personally, I have a lot of different games that come to mind, and I'm sure you do as well. But the one thing that's unique with these games is that everyone will have their own experience with them, and the way that impacts them will be different than others. It doesn't matter what game it is, alright? I'm sure there's one person out there whose life was saved by Candy Crush. I mean, think about it. During quarantine, we had a lot of free time on our hands, and that was when a lot of people got into a lot of different hobbies, including video games. Maybe during those years you got into a game that you had originally been putting off, and then that game left an immense impact on you. Or maybe during quarantine, a game released that completely warped your mental state permanently, and now you can no longer look at things the same ever again thanks to an indie game with a cute art style. I think that's a bit too specific of an example. Regardless of what your experiences may be, there hasn't been a game that actually explored these ideas narratively until recently. And by recently, I mean 2 years ago. VIDEOVERSE is a story-rich visual novel that is similar to games like Hypnospace Outlaw and Emily is Away. It takes place in a fictionalized 2003, and the story is told through a social gaming network that's similar to Miiverse. We follow the story of Emmett, a 15-year-old gamer and artist who, over the course of the game, grows a strong connection with his gaming system, the Kinmoku Shark, and its social network, VIDEOVERSE. Similar to Kinmoku's previous game, One Night Stand, each decision you make ultimately affects the outcome of the story. You can make or break friendships, or just flat out get banned from VIDEOVERSE, which is very in character for a social network that's similar to Miiverse. Have you seen some of the posts that were made on Miiverse? Like, that site had to go. You're going to see this game through the lens of my playthrough, but I highly encourage you to play this yourself before watching, as it's one of those games that is better to experience for yourself beforehand. With that being said, let's get into this.
We got trouble.
When we start the game, we are introduced to a cutscene from the in-universe game, Feudal Fantasy. Over the course of this entire game, we are going to learn more and more about Feudal Fantasy and the fandom surrounding it. But what I really like about this fictional game is that we are shown only bits and pieces of it, and only cutscenes from specific parts of the game. In fact, this first cutscene we see is meant to be like a major plot point, where the protagonist Hanzo turns on his samurai master to become a ninja. Also, the art in this game is incredible. Kinmoku is an amazing artist, and it's awesome to see how much of this game contains her art. We then exit the view of the game and are greeted to our main character, Emmett. And hold on, is that a Green Day poster in the background? Alright, I like this character already. It's cool that he has a poster of the 2009 album 21st Century Breakdown in 2003, yeah, I'm just gonna ignore that. As Emmett is playing, he gets a notification of a new message in VIDEOVERSE, and from there, we save our game and open up the social network. VIDEOVERSE is where we will spend the majority of the game in. From here, we are basically given free control to explore the network as we please. This right here is our homepage, where we can look at our recently played games, our friends list, change our theme, and even change our icon and quote. Our current quote being a reference to The Simpsons.
I am too smart. I am too smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T.
Would you believe me if I said that this isn't the last time we find a Simpsons reference in this game? We can also click on each of our recently played games and get some dialogue from Emmett talking about it. It should also be apparent that a lot of these games are just parodies of previously existing games. Feudal Fantasy is Final Fantasy, Minimon is Pokemon, Digibots is Digimon, Flame Banner Wars is Fire Emblem, Rex is Gex, and so on and so forth. But included in some of your friends' recently played games are Easter eggs to other indie games, such as Don't Make Love, The Wreck, and A Shiba Story. There's also an Easter egg to One Night Stand, Kinmoku's previous game. I really love it when indie devs show their appreciation for other indie games and their work. It introduces people to games they might not have heard of up to that point. Speaking of the friends list, when we click on ours, we can check out the profile of each friend we have. Emmett will have something unique to say about each one. First, we have Lorena222. She's not that close to Emmett, but he says that she has always been pleasant to talk to. She almost never replies to any DMs you send her. Then there's Marcun666, or Marcus. He's one of Emmett's closest friends on Videoverse, and the two of them even met up at a gaming expo the year prior. Nobu is a recent addition to Emmett's friends list. He's 36. That's all I'm gonna say about him. Wilson14 is our friend who hasn't been online in over a year, and Zowler is a piece of shit. Those are all of Emmett's friends, but not all of the users you can interact with on Videoverse. The way the game structures its narrative is through community posts and chat messages from friends and other users. When you are engaging with these, you can pick from multiple choices, and each one will affect how the story progresses. After a conversation with Marcus where we video chat with Game Boy cameras, it's in this conversation that we learn a lot about Emmett. One of the main things being that he isn't very confident in his artistic ability, and he hasn't had much of a desire to post his art anymore because of negative comments. Despite what his friends say, he doesn't feel like he is as good as any of the other artists on Videoverse. So Marcus invites him to a community centered around feudal fantasy, saying that people post their fan art all the time in there and that it's not full of negativity like the other communities. And this is our introduction to the communities in Videoverse. There are a total of 4 communities that Emmett is a part of: Kinmoku Games, Off Topic, and Art Center, along with the already mentioned feudal fantasy community. Exploring these communities, you can very much see where a lot of the Miiverse inspiration comes from. There's a lot of drawings and old internet memes. We would be here all day if I read through every single post, so instead, I'm going to share with you some of my favorites throughout the entire game.
When Chuck turned 18, his parents moved out. I love men!
Are you a gamer girl in
Ireland looking for your hero?
Is it wrong to find game characters hot?
Asking for a friend. When your Videoverse crush turns out to be the bus driver?
Hipster dance!
I'm not doing the f***ing song. Videoverse is fun! My mom and dad have been fighting again. Fuck! When Chuck's game stopped working, the cartridges blow him!
Wait, the cartridges blow him? All of these posts are just scratching the surface of what you can find in this game. It's honestly really cool just how much detail was put into each user of Videoverse. They all have their own unique art style and personality. And in case you are wondering, yes, you can draw your own posts as well. Draw yourself below. Well, I think it's about time I add this goober into the game. I'm hungry. Give me something to eat. Oh, you're giving me way too much freedom here. I'm in my 20s, by the way. Now, browsing Videoverse is just part of the experience. One of the other things you can do is report posts that violate TOS, similarly to Hypnospace Outlaw. For example, we have a post of someone coming out as gay in the Art Center community, and while the comments are positive, there are some you can report and get taken down. Doing so will contribute to increasing the overall health of the community, which in turn will change the progression of the story.
He prefers the company of men.
Who doesn't?
I told you there was going to be more Simpsons references. Anyway, when we enter the feudal fantasy community, we're met with posts of people discussing the game and sharing fan art. One of the recent art posts in this community is by a user with no profile picture named Vivi. They post a drawing of the main protagonist of feudal fantasy, Hanzo, and while they may not seem like an important user right now, they're going to be playing an integral part of the story. After a few days passed, Emmett has enough confidence to post his feudal fantasy fan art in the same community page. His drawing is literally a spoiler to the game, so I can see he's off to a great first impression. The name of the drawing is Hanzo Turns Evil. That would be like me joining a community filled with people playing through Red Dead Redemption 2 for the first time, and then
Music box, never mind the monsters. Light it up, keep it up, running out of options. Take the mask and put it on. Will they know if I hide a place?
That's me. I'm singing.
after we post our drawing, we get a message from Marcus who expresses their happiness over Emmett posting his art again. He then asks for him to send over any drawings he makes from Feudal Fantasy so that he can add them to a school project he is making. From here on out, any drawings we make relating to that game can be sent over to him, and in return, it will increase our level of friendship with him. Any requests or tasks that we are given is added to our notebook. We can always return to it and choose which tasks or requests to fulfill, with each one affecting the outcome of the story. Marcus is a really supportive character, and he is always willing to help out Emmett and give him advice. Out of all of his friends, Marcus is kind of the only one I like. We'll get into how much I hate Zowler later on. Oh hey, Vivi posted a new drawing as well. I love how they draw Hanzo. Let's read the comment. This is so fucking gay! Get this dog shit off Videoverse! Similarly to how we got harassed over our drawings, it seems that Vivi is having the same thing happen to them. After we report them, we get a message from Zowler, and we are introduced to his character. Unfortunately. Zowler as a character is pretty well written for who he is meant to be, but if I knew him as a person, I would get a restraining order. He radiates a lot of future frat boy energy, and he looks like he would call me a slur. But the absolute worst part about him is that he's British. He has an online girlfriend named Tifa-chan, and apparently the person we just reported was also harassing her, which is why Zowler messaged us. His relationship with Tifa is a recurring storyline, and just like every online relationship, they are incredibly dysfunctional. They break up multiple times and make their personal drama public in community posts, and because of that, pretty much everyone on Videoverse resents these two. I don't think Zowler is a bad person. That's like saying a 14-year-old is a horrible human being because they act like a 14-year-old. But I would be lying if I said this game didn't do a good job at making him look like a douchebag. Like, when he mentions how his girlfriend might break up with him, he says how there's plenty of fish in the sea, especially on Videoverse. This guy is only interested in dating through Miiverse. Let that sink in. No, seriously, let them in. It's cold outside. It's pretty funny how he tells you in this conversation to come to him with girl advice, because he doesn't seem like that type of person to hold a stable relationship. After our conversation ends, you get a notification of Vivi liking your recent drawing. This gives Emmett a boost of confidence, and is happy that an artist he likes actually finds his art good. Little do we know, this is the start of something much bigger. Before we begin Chapter 2, I want to take a brief intermission to talk about some of the other mechanics in this game that I have not yet mentioned. Throughout your browsing of Videoverse, there are some posts you can find that inspire Emmett enough to take notes about them. He puts these in a journal called Videoverse Words of Wisdom. This is one of the collectibles that this game has. There's something really therapeutic about collecting little notes that not only apply to being online, but just everyday life good advice. I didn't get all of them, I'll probably have to do a second playthrough just to get them all, but I like that this game has something like this. It makes it feel rewarding to just browse through Videoverse. One of the other things that I am going to talk about before we continue is some of the users in Videoverse, mostly because moving forward, I'm going to be focusing on the main story from now on. First, there's Glitter Girl. Glitter is another artist on Videoverse, but she is also a massive target for misogyny-based harassment from trolls online, and it would get bad enough to a point where she would go offline for a prolonged period of time. However, if we keep reporting the harassment and getting it removed, she will come back at the end of the game and have a much better mood and outlook moving forward. One of her harassers is a user named Mark Kill, and the reason as to why I am bringing him up is because I am 99% sure this is just Marcus with a burner account. They have very similar profile pictures and usernames, and whenever Mark Hill posts, Markun666 is offline. Mark Hill's identity is never revealed. I don't know if it's because I managed to get him banned in my playthrough or what, but I assume there might be more. Stacy's mom is homophobic and draws Rule 34 of Feudal Fantasy to post on Videoverse.
Do not come.
Darth Valentine exists just to be as much of an asshole as possible. But one user that has really good character development is Your Nightmare. Right off the bat, when you first meet him in Videoverse, he comes off as a pessimistic douchebag who has way too big of a chip on his shoulder. But over the course of the game, you learn more about him and that his attitude had to do with trouble at home. And when he decides to give a visual novel named The Pictures You Painted a fair chance considering the game was on sale, he ends up liking the game and caring about its characters. It completely shatters the mask that he was putting on, and now he feels more comfortable showing his true self rather than pushing everyone away.
Oh my god. I get it.
Next, I want to talk about Feudal Fantasy. It's the main game that Emmett plays throughout the events of Videoverse, and as I said before, we are shown multiple cutscenes from the game throughout it, and we are able to piece together the story with it. So the story follows the protagonist Hanzo as an aspiring samurai, but then he betrays his master to become a ninja, but not before getting a nasty scar on his face. This betrayal would haunt Hanzo, and would constantly get visions of blood being on his hands. Hanzo's character arc throughout the game would imply him conquering his twisted self in order to save the ones closest to him. One of these people being Umi, easily the best character in Feudal Fantasy. She's a ditzy sidekick character who is very much meant to be the love interest for Hanzo. However, despite being clearly interested, Hanzo can't seem to take a hint. It's a very common relationship dynamic. Think of characters like Sonic and Amy, Cat Noir and Ladybug. Annoying Orange and Passion Fruit. Umi is also a subject for a lot of lewd art posted on Videoverse. Okay, well, it's just 2, but 2 is a lot for a platform that's similar to Miiverse. Well, actually, no, it's not. There was a whole lot more on Miiverse. So then Umi is like, oh my god, what happened to your face? And Hanzo's like, huh, it's nothing, I'm so cool. And then he becomes a ninja and then does ninja things, like having his braless wife hand him a sandwich. I should probably cut that from the video. Only like 3 people are gonna get that reference. Anyways, Umi is then captured by the main antagonist of the game, Nobunaga. And so Hanzo goes to rescue her and defeat Nobunaga. However, he then pulls a Shenmue 3 and escapes while the building burns down, and the game then ends on a cliffhanger. Okay, so that's Feudal Fantasy. I find it really cool just how much detail was put into this fake game. During my playthrough of Videoverse, I found myself really wishing that Feudal Fantasy was a real game just so I can experience the entire story. The way that users talk about the game in Videoverse make it sound so interesting. Lucy Blundell's art works so well for the energy that Feudal Fantasy was trying to capture, and the one thing that is very consistent throughout the game is how much the art helps carry the story and its elements. This is all of the side content that I want to talk about right now. Moving forward, I'm going to focus on the main story and bring up side content when it's necessary. This game has so much content, and I want to stick to the main story so I don't ruin the runtime of this video. Although I guess it's too late for that. Now, when we start Chapter 2, we have more access to new information. For example, we now know that our current system, the Kinmoku Shark, is going to be abandoned as the company is now making a jump to the next generation with the Dolphin. And as a result, there are rumors that Videoverse could be shutting down soon, although it's not confirmed. Once we log back in and check in on the latest drawing, we see that it's gotten a lot of likes, which is a big boost of morale for Emmett. This drawing catches the attention of Vivi, who sends us a friend request. After we accept it, we have a conversation with them where we end up learning a lot more about them. At this point, details about Vivi are unknown. We don't know what they look like, what gender they are, or even what their name is. All we know is that they make really good drawings. But eventually, they reply back to us. Vivi lets us know that they are still new to Videoverse, and this would explain why they still have the default profile picture and why they are naive to the amount of harassment that is present on the platform.
Is policing the only way to have a nice community?
Someone's gotta do it.
Isn't that what the moderators are for?
Yeah, but it helps to alert them. It's difficult for the mods to keep up with all the nasty people who've joined recently.
That's a shame.
Yeah. Videoverse used to be much more fun. But it's not all bad, especially once you make friends. The current state of Videoverse is a shell of what it once was, which could contribute to why Kinmoku would want to shut it down. Vivi definitely joined the platform too late to actually experience the greatness that Videoverse had to offer. Regardless, they do like seeing the art that we post, and when we ask them for advice on drawing, they give us the answer that every artist gives when someone asks that question. I don't know. Practice, I guess. Apparently, Emmett doesn't actually practice in his sketchbook, he only ever draws on Videoverse. Emmett wants to become an artist for video games in his future, and he is always looking for ways to improve his craft. So it's kind of hilarious that the only thing he has for practicing his drawing is his Kinmoku Shark. That's like me, wanting to become an animator as a kid, but the only thing I have to practice is Flipnote Studio. Well, I mean, that's an example from my real life, but it counts. I still need to make that Flipnote Hatina video. But like Vivi says, it doesn't matter where you practice as long as you make time for it to get better. Alright Emmett, so far so good, just make sure you don't say anything weird.
Provided people have hands, they can draw.
But haven't some people learned to draw with their feet?
I suppose some have, yeah.
and you blew it. We still don't know a lot about Vivi, and after this conversation, we talked to some of our friends about her and who they actually are. But not before Zowler tells us to spy on his internet girlfriend. Yeah, this guy can kick rocks.
Tifa-chan's been acting weird. Can you keep an eye out for us?
For what, exactly?
Reckon she's flirting with other guys on here. Don't know if it's playful or something more, but I'm not always online, so I can't do much about it.
Why not ask her directly?
I already did, but she denied it. Please, Em?
I don't want to get involved.
Thanks. I'll remember this the next time you need help.
You see, guys? This is why you don't make friends with British people. A few days pass, and we start talking to Vivi again. We talk about feudal fantasy, school, drawing, and it's in this conversation that we learn more about them. They're the same age as Emmett, that being 15, they live in England, and oh my god! They're a girl!
Oh my god!
There goes my hopes of this being a yaoi love story. Can't have shit in Videoverse. Yeah, much to the surprise of Emmett, Vivi is a girl, and as you can see, he reacts accordingly. Sorry, I'm just a little surprised.
Why?
You're really pretty. Oh, scheisse. Typos. Sorry, I typed what I was thinking, lol. Emmett then shows off the drawing he was making on his new sketchbook, but because the shark camera is Game Boy quality, it doesn't show up very well, and Vivi mistakes it for a drawing of Hanzo. Afterwards, the two talk some more about feudal fantasy and what else they have going on for the rest of the day. One thing you will notice is that Vivi is much less talkative than Emmett is. Like, Emmett will yap and ramble about anything in particular, and Vivi will reply in small sentences and one-word replies. It's very possible that she is putting on a front for what's going on in her personal life, but it's also possible that this is just how she normally is. For what we know right now, Vivi is a quiet kid who is hoping to make new friends over Videoverse. She's a really intriguing character that only develops more and more as the game goes on. She logs off to continue playing feudal fantasy, and Emmett is left to reflect on the events that transpired. And that's how Chapter 2 ends, but not before we have another short conversation with Zowler.
Hey, Em, what's up?
I spoke to Vivi.
Yeah? There, lass?
Find out yourself. I'm not gonna gossip.
Fine.
Have I mentioned that I really don't like Zowler? Oh hey, we got a message from Kenmoku. Welcome Ocean Online. Introducing Ocean Online, our new and improved online community, now available exclusively on Kenmoku Dolphin, our latest console. Ocean Online is the perfect place to chat with other players, share your creations, and more. To make way for Ocean Online, we'd like to inform all Kenmoku Shark owners that Videoverse will soon be taken offline. Details will be announced soon. So the rumors are true. Videoverse will be shutting down. This news is especially impactful to people like Emmett, who are meeting people through the service and don't have other ways to talk to them online. If it's impactful for Emmett, we can only imagine how impactful it is to everyone else. The general consensus of people on the platform is very spiteful and against the dolphin replacing the shark. But they're still like, yeah, I'm gonna get the dolphin. It's like when people got upset over the Nintendo Switch 2's price point but still bought it anyways. Anyways, because of this news, posts on Videoverse are now all over the place, and all of our friends aren't talking much. Except for Vivi. We video call with her again, and after a conversation about feudal fantasy, Emmett decides to ask her what her real name is, given they have known each other for a while now. I really love the way this game shows the intentions behind the main character based on how they type out their messages. Emmett will type out one message, but then erase it and contemplate if it's too personal of a question. You will see me get increasingly more frustrated over this detail later on, as the game will use this to tease you with dialogue options. It's fun though, I love the inclusion of it, and it's very much inspired by a similar thing in Emily is Away. Vivi asks what we were typing, and despite brushing it off, she is insistent on us finishing what we were going to say. So, Emmett caves in and asks Vivi what her real name is. It's weird we don't know each other's names.
Not really. You're Emmett.
But how do you say that?
Emma? If I'm honest, I thought maybe you were a girl at first.
Ah. So you're telling me we could have had a Yuri storyline as well? I'm in a very gay mood today, I can't help it. We learned that Vivi's real name is Violet, which is great because I got really tired of calling her Vivi, and now I can finally call her Violet for the rest of the video. She actually makes us guess what her name is, and our options are Vivian, Violet, or Violets. All in all, it's a pretty healthy conversation, and you can definitely see a connection form between Emmett and Violet. One of my favorite little details that's in this scene is that when Emmett types goodbye, he initially calls her Vivi before erasing and calling her Violet. It's a detail that's easy to miss, but it shows just how strong the bond between these two have grown over the course of the events of this game. So, this chapter is one of the longest, but also one of my favorites. I would love to go into more detail about Zauler and him getting cucked by his internet girlfriend, or Marcus and his poster that he's making, but I think it's important that I focus on the story between Violet and Emmett because it develops a lot in this chapter, and I honestly really want to talk more about it since it's what's central to the overall theme of the game. Before we log back in, I want to give attention to the calendar on our desk. When we take a look at it, you'll notice something in particular that's very strange. Halloween is on the 24th day of the month instead of the 31st. Now see, this is in reference to the American drama TV series 24, in which a counterterrorism agent by the name of Jack Bauer tackles different situations involving terrorists. Wait, no, sorry, I mean Emmett has a whole week coming up where he is on a family vacation to London. Keep an eye on this date in the calendar because this will be very important later on. You'll notice some other stuff on Emmett's desk, such as a new edition of GameZine, which advertises the Kinmoku Dolphin, along with the application that's meant to replace VIDEOVERSE, Ocean Online. It's very clear now that the end is near. When we log back into VIDEOVERSE, we talk to Marcus about the release of the Dolphin and if they are planning on getting one. We talk to Zauler about his online relationship and let him know that Tifa-chan is probably cheating on him. I wish you could block people on VIDEOVERSE. Now, there is actually an achievement you could get for getting Zauler to block you, which sadly I did not get, but I am going to aim for in my next playthrough. After these conversations, and after a bit of browsing on VIDEOVERSE, we get a message from Violet. She reflects on the overall mood surrounding the community on VIDEOVERSE after the announcement of the shutdown. She doesn't want VIDEOVERSE to end, and neither does Emmett. The platform gave them a place to talk about the things that they love and are interested in without the fear of judgment. And you can tell just from her dialogue that the shutdown is affecting her the most.
I don't want VIDEOVERSE to end. Outside of VIDEOVERSE, I don't have any friends I can chat to about games. And sharing my drawings on here gives me purpose.
When Emmett asks what she means by sharing drawings gives me purpose, she brushes it aside, almost as if she is hiding something from him. Emmett tries to comfort Violet by saying that there are websites that she could post her drawings on outside of VIDEOVERSE. Well, I looked into it at school. There are some art communities on the internet you could check out. One is called Defiant Art, I think.
I don't have a computer.
From what we can gather, it seems like VIDEOVERSE is the only form of online communication that Violet has. Because she doesn't have a computer, she can't stay connected to the friends she makes on VIDEOVERSE through email. Once the platform shuts down, so does her social life. She doesn't get along with people at her school and neither does Emmett. They both feel like outsiders or misfits, especially in Violet's case. Emmett can tell that something is wrong, so he offers to video chat with Violet. However, she declines this, and her replies thus forward are very short and indicate that she wants the conversation to end. Not because of anything that Emmett did wrong, but because she is too sad to continue talking. Emmett is very fortunate to be in a living situation where getting a new console for the holidays is possible, but not everyone is like him. Some people have different living situations and different relationships with their families where getting things like that isn't possible. Violet not having a computer is one thing, but with how she talks, it sounds like she knows that she's not going to be able to get a dolphin, and that means she's not able to post on Ocean Online and continue the friendships she had built up on VIDEOVERSE. And Emmett doesn't know yet just how lucky he is. A few days later, we log back in and chat with Violet some more. She apologizes for leaving so quickly and says that she was just upset about VIDEOVERSE shutting down, but that she was still going to make the most of it before it's gone. She then sends us her most recent drawing, which is an original art piece of Umi. We send a drawing back and then get on video chat. The two then talk more about feudal fantasy, and you can really tell in this conversation how much more lively Violet is. She smiles a lot more and is excited to talk about this game that the two have a connection over. She even suggests that Emmett take his sketchbook to London to work more on his art in a new environment. The conversation seems to go well, but all it takes is one message for cracks to show again. What do you think of London?
I don't like it. It's crowded and dirty, and getting around the city is exhausting.
I guess, but there's so much to see and do. Shops, theater plays, museums. I never get bored. My dad says, if you're sick of London, you're sick of life.
Maybe he's right.
This message obviously concerns Emmett, and when he asks her about it, she says that she prefers the countryside and that her and her family used to go out camping when she was a kid. This is a detail in the conversation that is moved past pretty quickly, but I do think it's worth pointing out and recognizing that while she may be telling the truth, it can also be possible that her initial message of maybe he's right indicates a much more deeper side to what is going on in Violet's life. I think bringing up her love for the countryside was a way for her to move the conversation forward, but also a way to sweep the negative feelings she has away from the view. All of this would make a lot more sense later. Don't you guys just love speculating about a teenager's life? We also learned that Violet wants to be a nurse, and that Emmett wants to achieve his dream of being an artist for CircleSoft, the dev team behind Feudal Fantasy. CircleSoft obviously being a play on Squaresoft, the team that made the Final Fantasy games. This conversation with Violet shows us a lot of things that say a lot about her character, as well as Emmett. When he talks about his goal of wanting to become a game artist, Violet is supportive of it, but also tries to warn Emmett that you can never predict what your circumstances are going to look like later down the line. It's always a good mentality to have a plan B in place, but from the way Violet talks, it's almost in complete contradiction to Emmett. It's like she has been in a similar position that Emmett was in, having that high amount of optimism for the future, but losing it due to things out of her control. I don't want to reveal too much about her character just yet, we'll be getting to that real soon, but it's interesting to see how her and Emmett's characters both contradict each other. The hopefulness and optimism that Emmett has is something that Violet doesn't seem to possess. Even when Emmett suggests that she gets a career in art, she is quick to poke holes in the idea. Have you ever thought to do art? You're better than me.
For video games, you mean? Lol. I've only recently started playing them. I don't know the first thing about how they work. They're for boys anyway.
That's not true.
But you know all this stuff about the dolphin, Feudal Fantasy, what game designers were thinking whilst making the game, etc. It's kinda mind-blowing.
You can always learn.
I doubt I can make games when I don't even feel like I belong in Videoverse.
You belong here just as much as anyone.
It doesn't feel that way. And I doubt I would have even played Feudal Fantasy if I wasn't given it.
Why does it matter how you got into Feudal Fantasy? You still love it.
I do, but love isn't enough.
It sounds like you're giving up before you've even considered it. Violet is someone who is more comfortable with giving up first out of the fear of failing later on. It's not uncommon to feel that way, especially as a teenager. The only reason why Violet has the shark in the first place is because it was a hand-me-down, so she's only just starting to get into video games as a whole. The idea of being in the games industry for a career isn't exactly a priority of hers the same way it's one of Emmett's. The conversation moves to relationships, and it's revealed that both Emmett and Violet never actually dated anyone before. Do you want to date someone?
I suppose, if the right person came along. I haven't given it much thought. Do you?
The options we have for our response are, I don't know. Yeah. I'd like to date you. And now we have confirmation that Emmett has feelings for Violet. Regardless of what option we pick, he will quickly end the conversation and log out, flustered and embarrassed over the fact that he got those feelings in the first place. Now he has to navigate these new feelings and what he should do about it. He has a vacation in London coming up, and it's possible for him to ask Violet to meet up there, but that's a much different request than meeting Marcus at a public expo. It's a lot more personal of an invitation, and I don't think that's a decision he should be making on his own. He should either ask for help or drop it. Emmett chooses the latter, and who better to ask for help about this than Zauler— oh fuck. Emmett! Don't ask Zauler for dating advice! Emmett! Emmett! There's someone I like.
Who?
I don't need to tell you. Though, I could use some advice.
Are you kidding?
Actually, forget it.
For fuck's sake, Em, I wanna help.
Well, this girl I like lives in another country.
And you wanna meet up? Is it far?
Not really. In fact, I have family there.
So meet her when you see them next time. Easy.
I don't know.
Em, you gonna be a pussy all your life? Just go for it.
Maybe you're right.
Trust us.
The guy who is currently getting cucked by his internet girlfriend is giving us dating advice. I think Emmett might have lost his goddamn mind. When Emmett video calls Violet, he immediately can tell that something is off about her today. But because Naive is his middle name, he still asks her to question. It goes about as well as you expected. Do you fancy meeting up? I don't know if it's far from where you live, but you said you were in the city, so maybe you can get there easily? I don't know, I'm just typing out loud.
Did you hack my account?
No. Why? Violet?
Then what makes you think I can just meet up with you? It's a big country.
Well, we chatted about London before, and I guessed maybe you lived nearby? But I didn't hack you. I don't even know if that's possible. But, do you live near London?
Don't tell anyone.
I won't, I promise. I'm sorry for asking. I didn't mean to upset you or cause any trouble. Your secret's safe with me. Violet logs off without responding. Emmett crossed a boundary and didn't even realize it. Violet was showing signs of something being wrong, but it didn't register in Emmett's head that this was probably not a good time to ask such a serious question. It's unknown right now whether or not this situationship is the reason for Violet's reaction, but I have a hard time believing she would be on board with the idea of meeting up, even if she was having a good day. I feel like Emmett views meeting up with Violet the same way he views meeting up with Marcus, but again, meeting an online friend at a public convention is much different than meeting up with an online friend outside of a public event at, like, their house or something. Regardless, Emmett feels like shit, and rightfully so. After this interaction, he's too embarrassed and ashamed to log back on, and then he goes away on vacation for a week. But the thought of this conversation and Violet being upset with him sours his experience. It still lingers in the back of his head. It's been nearly 2 weeks since Emmett was last online on Videoverse. When he does return, he has messages waiting from all of his friends. Almost all of them. Violet hasn't messaged him back since the argument. Emmett, not knowing what to do, asks his friend for some advice. No, not Zauler, we're never talking to him again. Emmett messages Marcus and explains the situation to him. He also admits to him that he has feelings for Violet. It's very clear that he feels bad over the situation and he wants to patch things up the best way he can. Marcus says that Emmett should talk to her again, whether that be a message or a comment under one of her posts, and that the longer he waits, the worse it will get. Marcus knows Emmett enough and understands that this girl means a lot to him, so we take his advice. When we find Violet's most recent drawing, it's this. The title of the drawing being, How Long Will I Be Left Waiting? It's not a feudal fantasy drawing, nor is it an original character. It's a drawing of her. Specifically her silhouette looking down while rain is pouring outside. Considering a past pattern of concerning behavior from Violet, this is a post that sets off major alarms in my head. When we talk with her again, we apologize for our past actions and making her uncomfortable. Violet reassures us, saying that they wanted to reach out for a while, but that Videoverse was acting up. As the date for the closure grows closer and closer, the software is starting to break more and more. This conversation between Violet and Emmett is important to have. It's very clear that they both do care for each other, and being friends means having to be honest with each other about how they are feeling, which is what happens. I was worried about you, though.
Why?
We didn't leave on the best terms.
I'm sorry. I didn't ruin your holiday, did I?
No, but don't apologize, it wasn't ruined.
I was angry.
What about?
You know, because of the hacking thing.
Oh, right.
I wish we were friends IRL, Emmett. I missed chatting with you.
The relationship between these two is stable again, and it feels like it's at a point where it will only continue to grow more and more. Alright, I did say I was going to put the side content aside in this discussion, but there is one side plot that I think we should talk about. After the announcement of Videoverse shutting down, a user named Uncle from Kenmoku, who I guess we'll just call a Kenmoku whistleblower, starts posting riddles for us to solve. If we solve all of his riddles, we get a message from him saying that we will learn about the truth behind Videoverse shutting down. Uncle turns his shark cam on, and it constantly flips between multiple people that we have talked to throughout our time in the game. This would imply that he got this footage from hacking other users, which would explain why Violet was so worried about her account getting hacked. Whoever this person actually is, he has a message that he wants to get across. He calls us out on our behavior and how, despite being a strong community member, we and many others have broken the rule on Videoverse in relation to sharing personal information.
As you know, Videoverse is a popular place for gamers to chat and make friends, but not everyone using Videoverse is here to make friends.
You mean the trolls?
Sadly, they're the least of Kinmoku's problems. Do you remember the rule about sharing personal information, the one you've broken several times?
What about it?
You're not the only one. Almost every user has broken this rule to some degree, but you shouldn't. Terrible things can happen if you do. Let's just say that some less than savory individuals have been using Videoverse as a way of meeting up with younger players. This kind of thing has been happening since the dawn of the internet, but Videoverse was a platform intended to be safe for children. Sadly, that's no longer the case.
That's terrible.
It is, so don't meet anyone online until you're older, or take an adult with you. Fortunately, Vivi wasn't as stupid as you.
This makes sense, but the Dolphin has Ocean Online. Won't that also be a problem?
Fixing Videoverse is an expensive option, so Kinmoku decided to update old tech and rebrand Videoverse in one fell swoop. But what do you think is the real reason Videoverse is ending on Shark?
So, Ocean Online can gather our data?
Bingo! Indeed, but most tech companies are doing this. Now it'll become standard practice in the next 10 years.
Why is Kinmoku keeping this secret? Why hide it?
Imagine the headlines if all of this were exposed. It could look real bad, especially with adults meeting children online. You could say goodbye to Videoverse, Shark, Dolphin, Feudal Fantasy, the whole lot. You appear trustworthy and you care deeply about Videoverse. I want people like you to stay vigilant. But you would also try to meet up with someone, so I felt it important that you know the risks involved. I wanted to tell you the truth and also warn you to not go ahead. See how your data can be used against you? Don't overshare online, companies are watching, which includes me. Ironic.
But I trust my friends.
You think others didn't say the same thing? You're still a child, Emmett. Don't meet anyone from Videoverse.
The concerns about being safe on the internet are commonplace today, but the idea of online communities was still fresh in 2003, so it would make sense why people like Emmett don't understand the dangers. Kinmoku rebranding Videoverse into Ocean Online makes sense from a business perspective, but it's also likely that rebranding would mean wiping the flaky reputation of Videoverse and starting new. The dangers of people meeting up through the software would be a PR nightmare for a company like Kinmoku, but that doesn't mean they care about the privacy or safety of its users. Ocean Online is also being used as a means to gather people's personal data. It will be used to track everything the user does in order to sell more products. Uncle is right. I mean, 10 years after the events of this game, Watch Dogs was released, which had a narrative that was built off the real-world ethics of tech companies and their invasion of customer privacy. Tech companies and monopolies using your personal data for their own benefits is so commonplace today that pretty much everybody is aware of this, but are powerless to do anything to stop it. Watch Dogs takes those real-world aspects and builds upon them in their social commentary. Alright, I can cross mentioning Watch Dogs off my to-do list. Uncle is right that the invasion of personal data from companies would be standard practice in the next 10 years. Companies can get away with this by making you agree to their terms and conditions. I mean, whenever we get a new game or tech product, we are always shown a purposefully long list of exactly that, which nobody reads. We all just scrolled to the bottom and clicked I accept so we can move on. It's really interesting seeing a game like Videoverse explore narratives and themes like this, and doing so in an easy-to-miss side plot. If we just ignored all the posts on Videoverse and just breezed through the main story and not even paid attention to Uncle from Kinmoku's posts on Videoverse, or even went through and solving his riddles, we would have absolutely missed this truth nuke. Even if we are invested in the story between Violet and Emmett, it's nice to see this game take a minute and go, hey, don't be like this doofus. Be safe on the internet. I will say, it is kind of ironic that the guy who hacked multiple Videoverse users and their shark cams is teaching us about internet safety, but hey, it's the thought that counts. Well, that was fun. Anyway, our next conversation is with I'm skipping this one. Our next conversation is with Violet. She asks us for help on a difficult part of feudal fantasy, and if we have been paying enough attention to the posts on Videoverse, we can use the advice we collected from other users to help her out. This is just one of the many reasons why doing a completionist playthrough of the game is worth the hustle. Just finding little pieces of information really do go a long way towards whatever ending you end up getting. The conversation comes to a halt as we can see Violet's door open in the background and what appears to be her mom talking to her. After this, we can see her mood shift and become depressed. She puts on a mask to keep talking to Emmett. However, Emmett has talked to her enough to know when something is going on. Is everything alright?
My mum called me.
Oh.
It's fine.
Are you sure?
Yes.
But you look sad.
That's just the way I look.
That's not true.
Lol.
You don't want to talk anymore?
Not really.
Please, I want to help you.
Lol. You can't help. Please stop asking.
Even if we have good intentions, we can't force someone to talk about what's going on. I made a separate save beforehand to get a better result than this, but even though I was able to not piss Violet off, it's very clear that the relationship she has with her mom is not healthy. Emmett notices this as well. Whatever it is she said, it completely shifted her mood. Let's just hope we can figure her out more the next time she's online. But that's the thing. She doesn't come back online. We don't hear back from Violet after this conversation. She remains offline for a concerning amount of time. Emmett knows this and goes to Marcus for help. I think her mum may have upset her. She's been offline ever since.
Shit show at home?
Like what?
Oh, anything. I mean, maybe her parents are abusive?
Oh, God, I never thought of that. Emmett, I know it's your entire character, but don't be naive. Marcus encourages us to, at the very least, ask her about what's going on when she does come back online.
I could be super wrong, though. I mean, did you ask her about it?
No, I didn't want to pry and make things worse.
Yeah, maybe. Try asking again when things are calm? No idea.
I could, though I'm worried I'm being creepy at this point.
Well, it's impossible to know what she's thinking, but what if she's in trouble, Alter? Will you regret it if you do nothing?
Yeah, I would. It's understandable to not want to pry, but knowing Violet, this is a past pattern of behavior that indicates a lot of trouble. We can't always know what's going on in a person's life even if we talk to them a lot. But regardless, Violet is offline and all we can do right now is wait for her to come back. A pattern would soon start of Emmett logging on to see if she was online and then logging off disappointed. And this pattern would continue for several days. Even when you log on, you aren't given the choice to browse Videoverse. Emmett will just go, what's the point? The amount of empathy and concern he has made his desire to go on Videoverse pointless if Violet wasn't on as well. The game goes out of its way to show us this cycle, make us go through the process of logging on, seeing that she isn't online, and logging off, over and over again. The state of Videoverse is so bad that server outages are very frequent. Kenmoku has completely abandoned Videoverse in favor of Ocean Online, so any bugs or glitches that the servers are having is not of their concern. It almost feels deliberate, like they are purposely degrading the platform enough to convince people to upgrade to Dolphin. Thank God that's something that only happens in video games and not in real life, am I right? The corporations are going to kill us one day. These issues all culminate in what feels like Emmett finally losing his patience. All his friends stopped going online due to these server issues, and now he wants to get his frustrations out. Call it emo as much as you want, but considering how Emmett can't connect with people at his school when it comes to his interests, Videoverse is the only place where he feels like he can be himself. Many people feel this way in real life when it comes to online communities, so I can understand Emmett's frustrations here. When all of his friends don't go online anymore because of how much the platform has crumbled, it feels like he is losing his social circle. And so we draw vent art to post in the community. Don't worry, Emmett, 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge is coming out next year. You'll get your emo fix then. After we post our drawing, we get a message from Zowler.
Hey, not spoken for a while. What's going on with your post? It looks different.
The game gives us the option to tell him to fuck off, but I wasn't cocky enough in this playthrough to pick it. Never in my life have I wanted to click a dialogue option more. I really wanted to tell him to just fuck off. Zowler tells us not to beat ourselves up over the situation and that we need to relax. 8 hours into the game and he finally said something I can agree with. Thank you, Zowler. Now never talk to me again. Hey, Zowler Squad, hack this! The closure of Videoverse grows closer and closer, and just when we think we are never going to hear from Violet again, we do. When Violet messages us, it's already been at least 2 weeks since she was last online. This conversation that we have with her is way too good for me to not show in its entirety. This is what the past several chapters have been building up to, and it's the scene that convinced me to make this video.
Hi, Emmett. I'm back.
Oh my god. Hey.
Hi, Emmett.
I can't believe you're back.
Yeah. I had trouble getting online, though.
I was certain you left Videoverse for good.
No way.
I'm sorry I keep messing things up. I thought we'd never speak again.
Sorry. I didn't mean to disappear on you like that. I'm a stranger when it comes to opening up. I'm not often asked how I'm doing, so I'm unfamiliar with people listening like that. But thank you for showing concern.
I want to be there for you, Violet.
Anyway, I wanted to say thanks for being such a kind friend.
That's okay.
Actually, I was in hospital, recovering from an operation.
An operation? Are you okay?
Yeah. Well, no. The original problem was solved, at least.
Violet?
I'm sorry. I'm such a mess. I just can't believe none of my friends would come to visit me.
I would visit you every day if I could.
Sorry. Sorry for being such a mess.
You don't need to apologize. You've done nothing wrong.
I'm not usually like this. This isn't me. I hate that you've only seen me at my worst. I just don't know what to do anymore. Sorry, I have to go.
We are now seeing a side of Violet that she had been keeping hidden from us. Out of fear of driving us away, she put on a mask that told everyone around her that everything was fine, when in actuality it wasn't. The next day, when we log on to Videoverse, Emmett looks back at all of Violet's drawings and begins to notice a pattern of sadness in them. And it's noticeable once you take a look back at them. Her drawings indicate a feeling of somber and bleakness. You can tell that her mood dictated the mood of her drawings as well. Emmett feels guilty for not noticing this sooner. He says how he was always rambling about his life and that he didn't take the time to realize how his friends were feeling. He starts beating himself up, saying how he probably didn't notice any other people suffering because of his cluelessness. But like Marcus said, we can't always tell what's going on in people's lives just by looking at them. Despite what Emmett is feeling, he is not in the same room as Violet, he is just an observer to her pain. There wasn't anything that he could do to fix the situation she was in. All he could do was be the best friend he could be, and he was.
Yo, Alter, what's going on?
Can I ask you for a favor?
Yeah, here now. What's going on?
Well, it's about this girl. I found out the reason she was offline for so long was because she's been in the hospital.
Your friend? Is she okay?
I don't know. She left our chat in tears.
Did she receive bad news?
She must have, right?
Sorry, Alter. I hope it's not serious.
Violet, I hope you're feeling better. I'm quite useless, but please know that I'm here. Love, Emmett.
Hi, Emmett. I just read your messages.
Hey, what's up?
I want to talk, but I don't know where to begin.
Take your time.
I don't know why you're friends with me. I've been so mean to you. I haven't been myself lately. Or for a while now.
I don't know what's been going on, but I know you've been in pain.
I was in an accident in August. My dad's a lorry driver, so I joined him on a trip one day. It was supposed to be a fun day. I'd never seen Dad at work, but I went and ruined it. Without getting into details, my hip and leg were smashed. Ugh, I was so stupid!
Oh, man. Has it healed now?
The bones have, but it's complicated. I couldn't walk whilst the joint was healing, so I stayed off school. Back then, the doctor said I'd be well enough to walk in about 10 weeks. But, long story short, I still can't walk. I caught an infection from the surgery, and now everything's inflamed. I went for a checkup the day before my birthday, and now they're saying my leg could be permanently damaged. So much for 10 weeks. They're saying it depends on whether I'm still growing or not. Ugh, I just want to be back to normal and walk like I used to. I hate myself for being so stupid. Why did I insist Dad take me along? Why did I forget my bag? If I didn't go back for it, this wouldn't have happened. Anyway, I needed another operation, and they kept me in. That's when I saw the specialist who told me there's a chance I may have to live with this pain, weakness, and immobility for the rest of my life. I don't think I can do that. They said I need to keep the wheelchair for the foreseeable, and may need walking aids after that. But I don't want them! I just want to walk normally like I used to.
Violet.
I am trying to walk again. I haven't completely given up or anything. I've started working with a physiotherapist, but it's just too painful right now. Mom says I'm not trying hard enough, that I don't care about recovering.
Has she always been like that with you?
Pretty much, but she's less patient with me now.
I'm sorry.
I thought I'd spend my teenage years having fun, but what can I do stuck here? I wish I could just worry about stupid things like my hair and makeup before a date, but as if! My GCSEs are coming up, and at this rate I'm gonna fail. I know it'd be easier if I just accepted that normality isn't going to happen for me anymore, but it hurts. I don't want to let go. Now there's an investigation going on into who was at fault for the crash. Dad is really stressed out, and Mom's had to reduce her hours to take care of me. It's just so much. Dad's overprotective now, and it's so annoying. But how can I complain when it was my fault? I'm worried my parents won't be able to pay for my brother's university fees anymore as well. Ugh, I've ruined everything!
Stop it. You haven't ruined everything. It was an accident, Violet. Sometimes bad things happen to good people and there's no reason for it.
I know that, but if this doesn't heal, the specialist said it'll likely be permanent to some degree.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, I don't want this to be my life. I want things to go back to the way they were. I want to walk and run again. I never stopped to think that one day I wouldn't be able to do those things. You think these kind of things only happen to others, but then they happen to you. Everyone has it so easy. They should be thankful for having normal bodies. Ugh, I should have been thankful. My classmates haven't even bothered to visit me.
Why are you holding on to them? It sounds like they're only making you sad.
You're right. It hurts, but you're right. I thought I meant something to them, but clearly they never cared about me from the start.
You deserve better. If they're friends, they should have visited you.
They don't want to know about how all this feels. Though, I'd probably be the same if I was in their shoes. Who am I to judge? My future is over. I'll never be able to help people as a nurse. They work hard on their feet all day, every day.
That doesn't mean your future is over. You can still do many things.
I suppose so.
Please believe in yourself. You can't focus on only the negative. There's still hope. Don't give up, Violet.
Yeah, I suppose. Thank you, Emmett. I feel better. There's just been so much I've wanted to get off my chest. It hurts so much. Physically and mentally. I want to scream every day. But if I do, my parents say I don't talk about anything else. They say they're tired of hearing about it. How do they think I feel? Even I'm sick of hearing about it.
You're processing something difficult. Don't be so hard on yourself.
I try to remind myself of that. I pushed all my emotions down because I thought that's what strong people do. But I realize now that was just running away from them. And then I took it out on my family and on you.
They say it's important to express your feelings. Don't feel bad for doing so.
I fell into a bad place mentally without even noticing it. Lol. I feel so silly now. As if you wanted to hear about all this when you logged on today.
It's okay. We can't get through life on our own.
Thank you, Emmett. Whoops. Typos. This was why my brother gave me his shark. To get my mind off everything and make friends from home. Whenever I'm alone, my mind's always telling me I won't be able to walk again.
Brains suck. Don't listen to them. They often think of the worst case scenarios. At least mine does.
Lol, true. Chatting on Videoverse and playing games on Shark are the few things I can do without getting help from others, so it's nice. And when I play Feudal Fantasy, I feel so relaxed and I forget everything.
That's great. You should relax and have fun.
I suppose if my accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't have gotten into video games or met you.
That's one way of looking at it.
Yeah, so at least something good came out of all this. Lol. And besides, I should be thankful that I'm even alive after a crash like that. I worried telling you would ruin our friendship or scare you away, like with my classmates. But I felt bad keeping it secret from you. I felt like I was lying. I suppose everyone needs an outlet. Though, you've been much more than that. You've made me feel so much better, Emmett. It's silly, considering we've never even met IRL.
Thanks for thinking of me. I want to be there for you, like an IRL friend.
You are a real friend, Emmett.
We have a lot to talk about with this scene. The reveal of Violet being disabled would explain a lot of her behavior up to this point. If you remember a couple chapters ago, Emmett was talking about wanting to become a game artist, and Violet told him to be prepared for things out of his control that would prevent him from achieving that dream. It felt really out of the blue for her to say that, but considering what she went through, it makes a lot more sense. There are many hints at her condition throughout the course of the game. Another example would be her brushing past why she doesn't want to be a nurse anymore. And it can also be possible that one of the reasons Violet didn't want to meet Emmett in real life is because she was scared of how he would react to seeing her in a wheelchair. That he wouldn't want to talk to her anymore the same way that her friends at school did. It makes sense for why she grew a connection with Videoverse and why she is sad about it shutting down more than anyone else. She doesn't have a PC, and the likelihood of her getting a dolphin with Ocean Online is slim to none. Especially with the complicated relationship that she has with her parents. But regardless of all this pain, Violet found a community and an outlet to cope with her hardships through the means of video games. A big theme of this game is not just the emotional impact video games can have, but also the importance of accessibility in video games. Violet is not just the only example of a user on Videoverse being able to find comfort and community in the platform despite a disability, but she is the most integral example to the story. I think it's important that video games are accessible to everyone, especially those with physical disabilities. Having that outlet to be yourself without restrictions is important, and I think this game does a really good job at showcasing the positives that a person with those disabilities could have with video games. It's a door into an otherwise inaccessible world. Also, one thing I do want to point out in this conversation with Violet is that similarly to how Emmett makes typos when flustered, Violet does the same. And this could be a hint that she feels an attraction to Emmett the same way he feels one to her. Of course, I could just be looking deep into it, but that's my takeaway of it at least. But even with all of that said, the closure of Videoverse is upon us, and it's time to say goodbye to everyone, including Violet. On the last day of Videoverse being online, most of the posts are much different in tone than it was when we first learned about the shutdown. It feels like the users have all gone through their own grieving process with a software that brought them a new community and friends. Denial over the rumors of the shutdown, anger over the announcement of the shutdown, bargaining for the service to remain online, depression over the users who have left and knowing that the community they were part of is about to be erased, and finally, we reached acceptance with the shutdown. And the posts we are seeing are filled with drawings and comments about how much Videoverse meant to people and sharing memories of their time on the platform. I think it's really cool to see this community grow and be optimistic for the future towards the end. Emmett says his goodbyes to the people he met through Videoverse. Marcus finally finishes his poster of all the Feudal Fantasy fan art. Zowler is looking to patch things up with Tifa. Good luck. And we're finally going to tell Violet how we feel and ask her to be our girlfriend. We have a lengthy conversation in which we send each other drawings and talk more about the future. It didn't come out quite as I hoped.
You really think I look this pretty?
Remember, you're not alone.
You're right. Thank you, Emmett. Check this out. I wanted to draw something original, and what I'll miss most when Videoverse is gone.
Violet is a lot more optimistic about what's going to happen after the closure of Videoverse. She mentions the possibility of getting a laptop for school so she can stay in contact with Emmett, or even saving for her dolphin so that she can join Ocean Online. Things are really turning around, and it's so sweet to see these two connect and grow even more closer. Knowing that Violet was able to connect in a place that allowed her to be her true self without the restrictions that her disability gave her is really powerful. And forgive me for going a little off topic, but this theme of the importance of accessibility and community in gaming really resonated with me, and one of the things that it reminded me of is the story of Matt Steen, also known as Iblin. Steen was born with DMD, a severe type of muscular dystrophy that would severely limit his abilities to participate in everyday activities. Because of this, he would end up spending most of his time playing World of Warcraft, and in that game, he was able to be a version of himself that he otherwise couldn't be in real life. He made friends and got to be a part of a guild filled with people who all respected him, not knowing about the condition he was living with. Towards the end of his life, he created a blog documenting his life living with the disease. Because his condition worsened over time, it became harder and harder for him to play the game, and eventually guild members took notice. He eventually shares his condition with his friends along with his blog. Steen would pass away at the age of 25 due to complications from DMD, and members of his Warcraft guild would attend his funeral, much to the surprise of his parents. They learned that their son was living the best life that he could without them even realizing it. The story would be told in a Netflix documentary called The Remarkable Life of Iblin in 2024, and I highly recommend it as it showcases the importance that a community in video games can provide the same way that Videoverse does. I brought it up because the documentary along with this game made me realize just how important video games can be for people who otherwise can't live normal lives. And I never really see other pieces of media tackle this subject as well as Videoverse in the Iblin documentary, which is another reason why I wanted to make this video to begin with. I think in a world full of negativity, we need more things to be optimistic about, and more things to appreciate. It's nice to see that in this game, Violet is able to live her life the best that she can through an online video game community. Even if she's just a video game character, her story is not that dissimilar to real people who have gone through what she has. So I think it's finally time that we close the gap and tell her how we feel. Tell her how we... Emmett, tell her how you... No, don't delete... Emmett, goddammit! I wanted to ask you something before the servers closed, but I don't know if I should.
Lol, you can't say something like that then go quiet on me. You gotta tell me.
Do you want to go out with me? And then, server outage. When we try to log back in, we're unsuccessful, so we try again, and again, and again. It's over. Videoverse shut down their servers. We don't get to see Violet's response. All we can do now is wait for Ocean Online. And a few weeks later, we create an account on that platform and look her name up. Maybe she got a dolphin for Christmas as well. No results. We come back many months later and look her up. No results. We wait even longer and look her name up. No results. We wait many more months. No results. I guess that's that. VIDEOVERSE is a game that connected to me on a deeply personal level. The characters in the game and even the little details all felt so familiar yet so fresh. Going through this emotional rollercoaster of a game was incredible, and you can tell that this was made with so much love and care. When I started making this video, I was only expecting it to be about the normal length that my videos have. I was not expecting to have so much to say about this game. I promise you, I don't normally make videos this long. This is a rare occasion. The story of VIDEOVERSE doesn't end on a happy note, but that's the point. We all have that one online friend that we used to be close with and talk to all the time, but then suddenly they just don't log on one day. And then that one day turns into tens, and then that tens turns to hundreds, and maybe even thousands. VIDEOVERSE is meant to be a story of ordinary people just trying to find a semblance of a community in a dying software. It's not meant to give us a fairy tale ending where we get everything we want. Sometimes, just like in real life, we don't always get what we want. You can't always get what you want. After the game ends, we get a post-credits scene where it reveals that Emmett ended up achieving his dream of being a game artist. His motive behind getting into the industry, and especially the accessibility part of it, stemmed from his interactions with Violet in 2003. Now it's 2023, and we learn that all of this entire story was retold at an expo where Emmett was a speaker at. And guess who's in attendance at the expo? That's right. Peanut Butter Gamer!
Of course I can see his house. It's right there.
Alright, now this guy, he built my childhood, alright? I watched his videos all the time as a kid. It's so cool to see him in this game, especially that he's so involved in this VIDEOVERSE story. Oh yeah, Violet is in attendance as well, but who cares about that? So yeah, Emmett just told Violet his feelings 20 years later without even realizing it. After the event, he comes outside and sits down on a bench next to Violet, and the two finally reconnect. The scene is fully voice acted, by the way, so you don't have to hear my horrible British accent anymore. How awesome is that?
I thought I'd never get out of there. That's her. Hey, do you mind if I sit here?
No.
Thanks. I'm exhausted. Were you at the talk just now?
Yes, I was.
Oh, I thought so. It looked like you wanted to ask me something. Sorry. Those guys were full of questions. I couldn't get away.
Emmett. It's me. Violet.
What?
From VIDEOVERSE.
What? Violet? Oh my god. I can't believe it. Oh, sorry. I just, I don't know what to say. I always wanted to meet you. After all this time.
I know. I saw the talk listed with your name next to it, and I was curious, so I thought I'd check it out. But then you started your story about VIDEOVERSE, and I knew for certain it was you. It was like you were retelling my life. I never thought you'd remember all that.
Of course I remember. Violet, you're always on my mind. You're the reason I work in accessibility. I always think back to how much games meant to you, how they helped you through such a difficult time. So, I wanted to do that for others.
I bet you're good at it.
Huh?
Well, you helped me.
Nah, I didn't do any...
You did. It wasn't just feudal fantasy and VIDEOVERSE that helped me. You know, I work in games too.
What?
You were always telling me I should do it.
I thought you were here as a fan. What about your dream?
That changed ages ago. I'm a 2D artist now.
No way! That's awesome!
It's only background art for missing object puzzles, but video games helped me when I first became disabled, so I thought I'd try to give back. Or something like that. It's not really saving lives, but that whole experience saved mine. So, thank you, Emmett.
I'm glad I could help.
What did you think of Feudal Fantasy 2 then?
It wasn't as good as the first, was it?
It took me a few years to get hold of a copy, but yeah, I didn't like it much either.
You should try the mobile game.
'Cause you worked on it.
Of course! Is that not reason enough?
I suppose I should check it out then.
I think this final scene with Violet was such a perfect way to end the game, at least with the ending I got. Yeah, there's multiple endings for this game. Seeing how much our interactions with her helped in giving her a new outlook on life and how she could still make an impact even if it's not something big and grand like working in the medical field. It's still something that can change people's lives the same way that her life was changed. I think it's fate that these two would always find each other one way or the other. Maybe not as lovers, but as friends. They both play a big part in each other's lives. It's amazing to see how this game can tell a story about finding hope after believing that it's all gone. The last time we saw Violet, she was in a wheelchair, and now she's just using a cane. Yes, she's still disabled, but her fear of never being able to walk again didn't come true. And it's really cool to see just how much the game built to this moment. It's sweet. VIDEOVERSE is a story that can show how you don't always need to be doing big grand gestures in order to make a positive impact in someone's life. Just being there and being the best friend you can be is more than enough to make someone's day just a little bit better. This game is emotional and impactful. Sometimes it's a little stupid, but at the end of the day, it's human. I think that's the best way I can describe it. VIDEOVERSE is human. Lucy Blundell and the rest of the people who worked on this game are incredibly talented, and they deserve all the respect in the world. It really amazes me how relatively little content there is about this game online. I think the game has less than 200 reviews on the actual Steam page. It's got a 90 on Metacritic though, so that's pretty awesome. I hope that this video can introduce more people to this game, because it's probably one of my favorite indie games that I have ever played. There's still so much to do in it. The game encourages a second playthrough to get every drawing or every piece of VIDEOVERSE wisdom. Or get blocked by Zeller, that's already enough motivation for me to replay the game. I love VIDEOVERSE, and I hope that after this video, you'll love VIDEOVERSE too. I've been Limus, and never be normal.
We want to make a Lego set based on the NES.
Welcome to the game store.
Voldemar, what are you doing? Research. How's the set coming? Well? How's the set coming? Well? How's the set coming? Well? How's the set coming? How's the set coming? Wait, I'm 42. I can make my own decisions.